In the spacious conference room, with floor-to-ceiling windows framing the bustling city skyline below, a massive prototype sports car engine hid proudly in the center of the polished mahogany table. It was surrounded by a group of sharply dressed executives, their expensive suits and ties a testament to their high status. They chuckled among themselves, their laughter carrying a sharp edge of mockery that filled the air like smoke. At the head of the table stood the stunning CEO, Alexandra Sterling, dressed in a crisp white blouse that hugged her figure perfectly and a sleek black pencil skirt that accentuated her confident posture. She leaned forward slightly, her perfectly manicured finger pointing accusingly at the engine, her lips curving into an arrogant smile that revealed straight white teeth. With a voice laced with sarcasm, she issued her challenge as if it were nothing more than a vicious prank. "If you can fix this engine, I will marry you." In front of all those watchful, judgmental eyes, the single father dressed in his oil-stained work uniform responded with quiet confidence. "I can do it." William Carter had not always been just a mechanic laboring in the dimly lit basement of Sterling Automotive's towering headquarters. At 36 years old, he carried himself with a gentle yet unbreakable dignity that stood in stark contrast to his faded coveralls and the deep calluses etched into his strong hands from years of hard work. His broad shoulders and muscular build spoke of endless hours spent wrenching and repairing, but his thoughtful grey eyes held a depth of wisdom and kindness that revealed a man of far greater substance. Long ago, he had been one of the company's brightest engineering stars, crafting groundbreaking automotive technologies in cutting-edge laboratories filled with humming computers and gleaming prototypes. He had poured his passion into designs that pushed the boundaries of what was possible, earning respect and admiration from colleagues who saw him as a visionary. But life has an unpredictable way of reshaping our paths, often in the most heartbreaking manners. 5 years earlier, when his beloved wife Sarah was struck down by a rare and devastating illness, William faced a crossroads that would redefine his entire existence. Without a moment's hesitation, he stepped away from his prestigious corner office, his substantial six-figure salary, and the glittering career trajectory that had promised even greater heights. He chose instead to become her devoted full-time caregiver, sacrificing everything to be by her side during her darkest days. For 2 agonizing years, he remained a constant presence at her hospital bedside, gently holding her fragile hand through grueling treatments and endless nights of pain. He whispered tender promises about the bright future awaiting their young daughter, filling the sterile room with hope even as his own heart ached. Until one quiet morning, Sarah slipped peacefully away, leaving behind a void that no professional success could ever fill. These days, William lived in a cozy yet modest 2-bedroom house on the quieter outskirts of the city, where the garage had been lovingly converted into a humble repair shop. It was here that he mended the vehicles of neighbors and friends, earning just enough to provide for his small family and keep the lights on. The garage walls were adorned with shelves of meticulously organized tools, each one polished and cared for despite their age and wear, reflecting his enduring respect for craftsmanship. Up in the attic, gathering a fine layer of dust in an old cardboard box, sat his framed, engineering degrees, silent reminders of a chapter closed, a life that now felt distant and almost foreign to him. Yet through it all, William had preserved an unshakable sense of self-worth. He refused to let resentment creep into his soul or harden his gentle spirit. Every single morning, he rose with renewed purpose, driven not by personal ambition, but by the boundless love for the precious little girl who relied on him completely. Lily Carter was 7 years old, a bundle of boundless energy and joy whose very presence could chase away the heaviest clouds of sorrow. She had inherited her mother's captivating ocean blue eyes, which sparkled with an innocent curiosity and a sharp intelligence that far surpassed her tender age. Her dark hair, just like her father's, was always neatly tied into 2 playful braids, a style she chose herself, poring over old magazines in the garage, featuring women engineers with similar looks. While most children her age lost themselves in dolls or colorful video games, Lily preferred to perch cross-legged on the cool concrete floor of the garage, deeply engrossed in thick automotive manuals that towered over her small frame. She could recite the names of every tool on her father's workbench without missing a beat, and distinguish between various engine types simply by the unique symphony of their sounds. In the warm glow of evening, she would eagerly assist William in cleaning and organizing his tools, her tiny hands moving in harmony with his larger ones as she bubbled with stories from school or fired off an endless stream of thoughtful questions about the inner workings of machines. Lily was his unbreakable anchor in a stormy sea, the shining reason he faced each new day with a smile. When he gazed into her bright eyes, he saw the embodiment of pure hope, and he had vowed upon Sarah's memory to give his daughter every possible chance to chase her dreams and become the extraordinary person she was meant to be. Alexandra Sterling, at 34, reigned at the absolute peak of corporate triumph, but her exalted position came with a profound isolation that gnawed at her soul. As the sole heir to her father Richard Sterling's vast automotive empire, she had inherited not only billions in assets, but also his unforgiving, cutthroat philosophy toward business and life. Her beauty was breathtaking and commanding, long platinum blonde hair cascading in flawless waves down her back, piercing ice blue eyes that could silence an entire room with one chilling glance, and a poised figure that made her tailored designer suits appear as if they were custom-made for a goddess. Yet this allure had evolved into both a powerful shield and a confining cage. She had endured countless suitors who orbited her like predators, their flattery as shallow as it was insincere, driven solely by greed for her fortune and influence, rather than any true affection for the woman beneath the facade. Each painful betrayal and exposed hidden agenda had fortified the emotional walls she built higher and thicker, layer by painful layer. Her luxurious penthouse apartment, perched high above the city with sweeping panoramic views and walls adorned with priceless works of art, resembled a cold fortress more than a welcoming home. She arrived at the office before 7 in the morning, fueled by black coffee and determination, and seldom departed before 10 at night, immersing herself in stacks of quarterly reports, intense merger discussions, and strategic planning sessions. This relentless schedule was her escape from the hollow emptiness that greeted her in moments of solitude. Trust had become an alien notion, something she viewed with suspicion. Vulnerability, that was a luxury she could never afford, a fatal flaw in the high-stakes world she navigated. Displaying any genuine emotion was akin to revealing your weakest hand in a brutal game of poker where fortunes were won and lost. Thus, she mastered the role of the untouchable Ice Queen, her razor-sharp wit and dismissive scorn maintaining an impenetrable barrier between herself and everyone else. That particular morning unfolded like so many others for Alexandra, beginning with a highly anticipated presentation of Sterling Automotive's groundbreaking new innovation, a revolutionary engine designed to shatter performance benchmarks in the elite luxury sports car sector. The conference room buzzed with excitement, packed to capacity with board members, eager potential investors, and top-tier senior engineers, all gathered to behold the culmination of millions invested in research and development. Alexandra commanded the space at the table's head, her charismatic presence drawing every eye as she eloquently detailed projected market dominance, revenue forecasts, and unparalleled competitive edges. But disaster struck when the lead engineer, Marcus Webb, attempted to ignite the engine for the live demonstration. Absolutely nothing happened, not a cough, not a whisper of life. The oppressive silence that engulfed the room was suffocating, broken only by Marcus's flustered apologies as he frantically adjusted controls and mumbled excuses about unforeseen calibration glitches and anomalous variables. Alexandra's impeccable composure began to fracture, her elegant jaw clenching tighter with every futile second that ticked by. This presentation was meant to be her crowning achievement, the irrefutable proof that would quiet the persistent whispers among certain board members who doubted her leadership, attributing her rise solely to family connections rather than merit. She could sense their thinly veiled glee at her predicament, their eyes gleaming with schadenfreude. "Someone fix this immediately," she demanded, her voice slicing through the tension of a blade honed to perfection. Her loyal assistant sprang into action, urgently dialing extensions, and soon William Carter was called up from the maintenance depths, where he had been diligently servicing the building's essential HVAC systems. As William stepped into the opulent conference room, clutching his worn tool bag, the disparity was almost comical in its starkness. Here was a humble man in grease-stained attire invading a sanctuary of power, where $1,000 suits were standard attire, where life-altering decisions impacting thousands of livelihoods were casually made over steaming imported coffees and delicate artisanal pastries. Alexandra's gaze narrowed into a disdainful squint as she appraised him, her full lips twisting into a sneer of contempt. Seriously, we are summoning the janitor to rescue our pinnacle of engineering excellence. The room exploded into uneasy chuckles, the executives quick to echo their leader's derision in a bid for favor. "He is not a janitor, ma'am," Marcus interjected feebly, his voice lacking conviction. "He is one of our dedicated maintenance technicians." Alexandra prowled around the table with predatory grace, her high heels echoing sharply against the flawless marble flooring. "A maintenance technician," she echoed mockingly, her words dripping with venomous sarcasm. "Pray tell, Mr. Carter." "William," he supplied calmly, unfazed. "Tell me, William, what on earth makes you believe you possess the skill to repair what my hand-picked team of mit-educated geniuses could not?" William held her intent stare without flinching, his grey eyes steady and devoid of defensiveness, despite the waves of hostility crashing toward him. "Because I truly understand engines, ma'am. Often, the most intricate dilemmas stem from the simplest oversights." A hush fell over the assembly, all awaiting Alexandra's retort. She let out a laugh that was frigid and hollow, reverberating off the expansive glass walls like shattering crystal. "You understand engines. This is no dilapidated old truck rusting away in some back alley garage. This is a $3 million prototype incorporating advancements you could scarcely fathom." And then, in a moment of cruel impulsiveness, she uttered the phrase that would alter destinies forever. "Here is my offer, Mr. Carter. If you manage to fix this engine, I will marry you." "That is how utterly certain I am of your impending failure." With composed deliberation, William placed his tool bag on the floor and approached the imposing engine. His actions were deliberate and assured, radiating a quiet expertise as he carefully lifted the glossy carbon fiber casing to expose the intricate masterpiece within. The onlookers observed in doubtful quietude as he scrutinized the elaborate network of parts, the dual turbochargers gleaming with precision, the bespoke fuel injection setup, the innovative variable valve timing system that had demanded years of tireless refinement. Whispers rippled through the executives. Some discreetly activated their phone cameras, anticipating a humiliating spectacle ripe for a viral sharing. "He's going to ruin it beyond repair," one hissed under his breath. "This could spiral into a massive legal disaster," another fretted. Alexandra remained with arms folded tightly across her chest, her face a portrait of smug superiority. Yet William ignored the barrage of skepticism entirely. He retrieved a spotless cloth from his pocket and methodically cleaned his hands before laying a finger on the machinery, a small but profound act of reverence that did not escape the notice of the more perceptive engineers in attendance. His fingers danced over the components with an intimate familiarity that surprised many, probing connections, assessing tensions, measuring pressures with practiced ease. He produced a compact flashlight and illuminated hidden crevices that others had overlooked in their haste. Unexpectedly, the conference room door creaked open softly, and little Lily tiptoed inside, having waited patiently in the lobby under the watchful eye of a kind security guard who often looked after her when William's shifts ran late. Spotting her father amid the sea of stern-faced strangers, she marched straight to him with the fearless poise unique to children, extending a chilled water bottle. "You forgot this, Daddy," she murmured tenderly. William halted his inspection to beam at her, accepting the bottle with heartfelt thanks. "Thank you so much, my sweet girl. Please wait right over there by the window. I will be finished shortly." Lily bobbed her head obediently and stationed herself beside the glass, her blue eyes alight with fascination as she observed her hero at work. As William delved deeper into his diagnosis, his thoughts wandered back to a simpler, yet vibrant era. He recalled standing in a state-of-the-art lab much like this one, encircled by glowing screens, showcasing three-dimensional renderings of engine blueprints he had personally architected. At 28, he had been brimming with youthful zeal and grand aspirations, logging exhaustive 18-hour days to hone the prototype that would launch Sterling's iconic vape engine lineup. Sarah would surprise him with homemade dinners at the office. Perching on his cluttered desk, he animatedly described his newest triumphs, her face glowing with unfeigned pride, even if the technical jargon sailed over her head. He vividly remembered the thrill of unveiling his inaugural major breakthrough to Richard Sterling in person, the patriarch's hearty slap on the back and booming declaration that Williams' future held boundless promise. But fate had veered sharply off that promising road. When Sarah fell ill, accolades and advancements paled into insignificance. Patents bearing his name, lavish bonuses, the panoramic corner office all surrendered willingly for irreplaceable moments with the love of his life. Now, as his hands navigated this evolved iteration of his earlier creations, a flood of muscle memory surged through him. He recognized the foundational framework, traced the natural progression from sketches he had once doodled on coffee-stained napkins during marathon idea sessions. The poetic irony warmed his heart rather than embittering it, repairing a legacy of his own making, while the daughter of his old mentor belittled his current station. There was no grudge, only a serene fulfillment in seeing his contributions endure and flourish without him. In under 20 minutes, William pinpointed the elusive fault, a minuscule deviation in the fuel pressure regulator, coupled with a sneaky software glitch, forming a vicious feedback loop that blocked startup. It was the sort of devious anomaly that tormented experts, evading routine scans. But William had wrestled with analogous quirks during the original development phases. He executed swift, pinpoint corrections, his motions fluid and efficient, evoking a master craftsman in his element. The atmosphere in the room shifted palpably. Derisive murmurs gave way to intrigued silence. Even Alexandra ceased her taunts, her gaze now fixed with an enigmatic intensity that betrayed cracks in her armor. With one last tweak, William stepped aside, dabbing his hands on his cloth. The pivotal instant arrived. He turned to Marcus with a nod. "Give it a try now." Marcus wavered, seeking Alexandra's approval with a glance. She jerked her head in terse consent, her expression taut. Marcus engaged the ignition. For a breathless heartbeat, silence reigned. Then, the engine thundered into glorious life. Its roar a harmonious blend of raw power and flawless engineering that vibrated through every chest in the room. Illuminated dashboards flared with impeccable data, every parameter at peak optimality. It hummed contentedly, outperforming even the most controlled lab trials, a living testament to mechanical perfection. What followed was a stunned void, profound and electric. Recording phones dipped limply. Smirks evaporated into wide-eyed astonishment. Marcus feverishly cycled through verifications, each confirming the miraculous revival and elevation to unprecedented efficiency. Alexandra remained statue still, her facade of invincibility splintering like fragile ice beneath a warming sun. Her lips parted in shock, but speech eluded her. The venomous barbs she had prepared with had unspoken. From her vantage by the window, Lily leapt with unbridled delight, dashing to envelop her father in a fierce hug. "I knew you could do it, Daddy. I just knew it." Her arms squeezed his waist tightly, her radiant smile a beacon of pure, unwavering belief. William returned the embrace warmly, his broad palm tenderly ruffling her braids. He offered no triumphant glances toward Alexandra or the flabbergasted crowd. His world narrowed to Lily alone, basking in the glow of her faith and the profound bond they shared. It was Harold Brennan, the venerable board elder with 4 decades of service to Sterling Automotive, who shattered the spell. His lined face etched with dawning realization, he advanced slowly. "Good heavens," he uttered with gravitas that commanded attention. You are William Carter, the brilliant mind behind the original Sterling vape series. Heads pivoted sharply between the old man and William. Junior staff appeared baffled, but veterans stirred with fond recollections. He was among our finest talents, Harold pressed on, his tone swelling with conviction. Departed roughly 5 years back for personal matters. Richard always lamented your loss as one of the firm's most regrettable. Marcus let the diagnostic device slip from his grasp, clanging loudly against the table. You laid the groundwork for our whole engine architecture. He whispered in awe. William offered a modest nod. No further elaboration needed. He did not boast of sleepless 72-hour marathons, refining combustion efficiencies, nor the cost-saving epiphanies, nor the trio of patents archived under his name. Alexandra's metamorphosis unfolded in agonizing slow motion. Pallor drained from her cheeks, rendering her appear startlingly youthful, and exposed a side no one in that room had ever glimpsed. Her usually rock-steady hands, accustomed to sealing deals worth fortunes, quivered faintly. You were an engineer here. Her voice emerged fragile, bereft of its authoritative bite. You worked under my father. William met her gaze evenly, his eyes conveying understanding without reproach. A lifetime ago, he replied softly. In what feels like another world entirely, the gravity of her prior cruelty lingered palpably, a poisonous haze. All recalled her scornful jeers, the collective guffaws, the flippant wager tossed like refuse. The individual she had so publicly degraded had been pivotal in erecting the very pillars of her inheritance. Several executives averted their eyes in shame, complicit in the humiliation. Her assistant blanched, horrified at having treated a former luminary like common labor. In Alexandra's reeling mind, realities clashed violently. This defied her rigid worldview. Prodigious engineers did not descend to maintenance roles. Masters capable of resurrecting multi-million-dollar marvels did not don soiled overalls or pack modest lunches. Yet William stood as irrefutable evidence that her judgments on value and achievement were deeply misguided. Observing his tender interactions with Lily, the way he crouched to her height for conversations, his patient grins at her inquisitive wonders, she glimpsed an inner peace she, despite her opulence, had never attained. Why? The question burst from her unbidden, raw with confusion. Why did you abandon it all? William rose gradually, his protective hand lingering on Lily's shoulder. My wife fell gravely ill, he explained in a hushed tone. Certain priorities eclipse any career. The raw truth struck Alexandra like a heartfelt embrace. She had long denied herself. She had consecrated her existence to the altar of professional conquest, equating worth with balance sheets and dominance. Here was a soul who had relinquished it all without a trace of sorrow. As the room gradually vacated, executives shuffling out with subdued murmurs and meaningful glances, hinting at future deliberations, Marcus approached William with outstretched hand. That was nothing short of extraordinary, he admitted with sincere reverence. Your diagnostic prowess. I labored on this for 2 years, and would have missed it entirely. William clasped the hand briefly. You would have uncovered it in time. A new perspective often illuminates what familiarity obscures. Alexandra, however, stayed anchored, her foundational beliefs quaking like earth in upheaval. She had constructed her identity on unyielding principles, power as armor, vulnerability as defeat, emotions as liabilities. William's life dismantled them brick by brick. He had embraced openness in prioritizing love, bared his soul in devotion, forfeited authority yet exuded a nobility surpassing any corner-suite titan. With the space emptying to just the three of them, Alexandra grappled for composure. Her arsenal of biting retorts and aloof dismissals proved useless against this unassuming man who sought neither her validation or feared her stature. He was poised to depart, returning to his unpretentious duties and cherished life with his daughter. Wait, she pleaded, the plea escaping more vulnerably than intended. William halted at the threshold, regarding her with courteous interest. Words failed Alexandra, a novel torment for one so articulate. I am truly sorry, she stammered, the apology tasting unfamiliar yet cathartic. My words earlier were heartless and utterly unwarranted. William pondered her briefly, then inclined his head. "We all endure trying days, Miss Sterling. Please, think nothing more of it." His magnanimous pardon only amplified her remorse. She had shamed him before peers, yet he absolved her with undeserved kindness. 2 days later, Alexandra mustered the resolve to seek him out once more. She descended via elevator to the maintenance floor, a realm of the building she had never deigned to explore her 5-year tenure as CEO. The utilitarian corridors, devoid of opulent finishes or decorative flair, hummed with the authentic pulse of labor. She located William in a modest break area, savoring a simple sandwich alongside a dense technical journal. Lily was at school, he noted upon her inquiry. "Might I join you?" she asked, motioning to the unassuming plastic seat opposite. He assented with a nod, and she settled in, feeling conspicuously overdressed amid the simplicity. "I have reflected deeply on your words," she ventured cautiously, "about elements surpassing professional pursuits." William listened attentively, granting her space. "I have never known such a thing," she confessed, astonished by her own candor. "Something outweighing triumph. I would be at a loss if it appeared." William mulled this, then responded with gentle insight. "It is not something one schedules. When Sarah's illness struck, choices evaporated. How could I deliberate earnings reports while she required my presence? How could advancement compare to each irreplaceable day shared?" A long-suppressed pang fissured within Alexandra's core, an emotional thaw she had armored against for years. "Do you harbor any regrets?" she pressed, surrendering all you had built. His smile unfolded warm and authentic, illuminating his features with quiet joy. "I relinquished employment, Miss Sterling. I retained what truly endures." Their exchange was cut short by her phone's insistent alerts: a brewing crisis in the Tokyo branch. Rising to depart, she paused. "Would you entertain returning to engineering? Your acumen would be invaluable." He shook his head kindly. "My world has shifted. Lily craves consistency, normalcy. She has endured sufficient upheaval." Undeterred, Alexandra engineered pretexts to descend to the maintenance level in the ensuing weeks. She arrived with extra coffees, feigning accidental overorders. She solicited his insights on engineering puzzles, despite her vast departmental resources. Gradually, she unraveled the layers of the man in the coveralls. She learned of his voluntary coaching at Lily's school robotics club, imparting foundational mechanics to wide-eyed 7-year-olds. She discovered his pro bono repairs for struggling single mothers at a local community hub. She uncovered his discreet servicing of financially pinched Sterling staff vehicles, refusing compensation despite his own tight budget. Each disclosure heightened her admiration and, reluctantly acknowledged, a burgeoning affection. This was no fleeting fancy for polished exteriors. It stirred something profound, disquieting in its authenticity. She caught herself pondering William during incongruous times mid-presentation, poring over legal documents, in the stillness of her vacant penthouse. What might it feel like to be chosen above all else, to have someone pierce your fortifications, to cherish the true self within? The flippant wager that had once been her weapon of humiliation tormented her conscience. He had succeeded where elites faltered. By her own decree, a debt lingered. One late evening, she lingered purposefully to intercept William on his overnight shift. She discovered him in the subterranean parking structure, aiding a frazzled secretary with a faltering battery. Once the appreciative woman departed, Alexandra drew near. "You are perpetually extending aid," she remarked softly. "What compels you?" William shrugged, wiping his hands on his faithful rag. "Aid is a universal need. Today for them, perhaps tomorrow for me." Under the harsh garage lights, she studied this enigma who had once pioneered revolutionary tech and now derived equal fulfillment from mundane jump starts. "I was serious, you know," she blurted, courage surging. "About the marriage, if you fixed it." His eyes widened in genuine astonishment, the first crack in his composure she had witnessed. "Miss Sterling, that was Alexandra," she corrected gently. "Please, call me Alexandra. I recognize it for what it was, arrogant, hurtful, a reflection of my worst traits. But you accomplished the impossible." She inhaled deeply, steeling herself with newfound bravery. I am not proposing immediate nuptials, that would be madness. But perhaps, dinner, you, Lily, and I. I yearn to know you both more deeply. William pondered in extended silence, leaving Alexandra breathless. Lily selects the venue, he conceded at last, a hint of warmth in his voice. And she holds firm views on sweets. A genuine, radiant smile bloomed on Alexandra's face, the first in ages that reached her eyes. I believe I can accommodate that. The outing materialized 3 days hence, a lively family diner adorned with crime-friendly placemats and an extensive dessert selection among the entrees. Lily subjected Alexandra to a thorough, endearing interrogation from favorite hues to automotive repair knowledge. Daddy insists everyone learn tire changes, she declared solemnly. Alexandra sheepishly confessed ignorance, prompting Lily to enlist William as instructor, eliciting his amused chuckle. In the months that followed, these gatherings evolved into cherished rituals. Alexandra ventured into uncharted territories, vibrant science expos, where Lily showcased father-daughter inventions, neighborhood block parties alive with familiar faces and shared stories, serene nights assembling intricate puzzles as rain pattered soothingly on rooftops. She mastered tire swaps in stilettos, drawing William's suppressed mirth. She aided Lily's studies, delighting in simplifying corporate principles for the child's absorbent mind. The frost encasing Alexandra's heart melted incrementally. She laughed freely at Lily's whimsical humor, anticipated William's insightful quips, and felt genuinely woven into a tapestry of authenticity absent from her prior existence. Colleagues noted her evolution. The razor-edged commander, now tempered with empathy, more attuned listener, even spotted grinning in strategy sessions. The turning point arrived half a year post their inaugural meal. William extended an invitation to Lily's school theatrical, a whimsical robot-centric twist on Cinderella. Nestled in the snug auditorium amid enthusiastic families, Alexandra felt profoundly at ease, worlds away from her sterile penthouse. When Lily stumbled on dialogue, William's soft prompt elicited collective affectionate laughter. In that instant, Alexandra reached for his hand. He intertwined fingers effortlessly, a natural communion. Post-performance, as Lily effervesced between them recounting highlights, a student journalist requested a family portrait. Before correction could form, Lily tugged them into the shot, her grin infectious. Later viewing the image, Alexandra beheld unfeigned bliss, a belonging transcending boardrooms. William proceeded cautiously, safeguarding Lily's tender emotions against potential heartbreak. Alexandra exercised patience, earning confidence through steadfast presence. Every club session, school milestone, weekend pancake rituals, she memorized preferences. Lily's eggs fluffy yet moist, William's coffee plain, but indulgent with her gourmet additives. Saturdays for bustling markets, Sundays for classic films. The pivotal shift occurred unforeseen. Lily fell ill mid-school day minor, but requiring pickup. The nurse contacted William first, but he was entangled in a distant urgent fix. Surprisingly, Alexandra topped the alternate list, unbeknownst to all. Abandoning a critical meeting, she sped to the school, spending the afternoon nurturing Lily with tales and homemade broth, a maternal fierceness awakening within. William returned home anxious, only to discover them dozing peacefully. Lily nestled trustingly against Alexandra, the tender vulnerability in his expression brimming with nascent love eclipsed any corporate victory. Precisely 1 year from the conference fiasco, Alexandra addressed the board anew. I propose structural enhancements, she announced confidently. William Carter rejoins as Chief Innovation Officer. Gasps rippled, but she pressed on. On a personal note, William and I are a couple. My father built this empire on familial principles. I vow to embody them wholly. Descending the days, she clasped their hands, facing the assembly. A year ago, I jested cruelly about wedding the engine's savior. Unknowingly, I addressed our foundational architect, a man who forfeited all for love, who illuminated that true success shares in companionship. The ensuing media frenzy spotlighted redemption, bravery in error, serendipitous romance, William anchored her side, Lily enchanting journalists with queries on publication timelines. Viral images captured their trio, later quartet, radiating unity. Their nuptials were intimate magic. At the community center of William's volunteerism, Lily dual-rolled as flower girl and best person. Harold officiated via swift online ordination. Alexandra's gown, Lily Cocoson, was elegantly understated. William donned his soul suit, reborn from sorrow to joy. Vows flowed heartfelt. Alexandra on unearthing hidden treasures, mending souls. William on unforeseen affections, futures forged from yesterdays. 3 years on, the original conference space morphed into the Carter Innovation Lab, fostering bold young minds. A dedication plaque honored Sarah, Love, the ultimate innovation. William mentored with his hallmark poise, birthing era-defining tech. Alexandra led with balanced vigor and heart, propelling unprecedented prosperity. Their family flourished. Lily, now 10 and prodigiously gifted, welcomed brother Samuel, blending parental traits. The tale morphed into inspirational law. Talent transcends attire. Respect is universal. Challenges birth beauty. Employees glimpsed their quartet traversing halls. Alexandra empowered in suits. William adaptable. Lily inventing animatedly. Samuel cradled securely. An improbable clan, forged from disdain to devotion. Affirming love defies straighter. In tranquil nights, Alexandra reflected on origins, the barbs, the revival, grateful for the dignified soul who realigned her priorities. William, sensing her musings, drew her near. The man who surrendered much yet gained infinity, proving love the supreme force. Their narrative persisted, evolving. Accolades for designs, global acclaim for leadership, yet pinnacle triumphs lay in Lily's assured kindness, Samuel's garage toddles, collaborative Sundays. Corporate ethos shifted, maintenance honored, hands-on wisdom integrated, humanity balancing ledgers. Decades hence, case studies lauded metrics, but insiders knew a void-filled executive, a resilient widower, a child's belief mended fractures in machinery and spirits alike. The preserved engines symbolized origins. William shared authentic chronicles with protégés, fear to fortitude, grief to grace, love's tenacious bloom. Alexandra treasured the play photo, emblem of metamorphosis from scorn to synergy. Theirs was no conclusion, but perpetual dawn. A household on unconventional bedrock, enterprise revitalized by empathy. Existence is enriched by love's triumph over apprehension. Mornings brimmed with expanded purpose, evenings echoed with familial symphony. In the retained modest abode's garage, legacies endured, Lily innovating under guidance, Alexandra inspiring, Samuel observing wondrously. The erstwhile jest birthed their lore, now recounted in mirth, cosmoses with transmuting lows to highs, love permeating defenses. William mended the engine, assuredly, profoundly. He healed Alexandra's unseen fractures. She, in vulnerability, restored their wholeness, a mother for Lily. Enduring partnership for William. Ultimately, beyond mechanics, bridges across divides, a child's maternal need met, a woman's capacity to cherish awakened, a man's integrity reshaping worlds. True might elevates, fulfillment roots in bonds. Love constructs, fortifies, revolutionizes. The engine ignited the spark. What ensued was vibrant, intricate, eternally precious life.